Hello, and welcome to the Community Unitarian Universalist Congregation. We are a member of the Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations, and love lies at the center of our faith. We covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically as we adapt to the changing world. With humility and reverence, we acknowledge our place in the great web of life. In this congregation, we affirm that Black lives matter as we embrace our differences and commonalities with love, curiosity, and respect. We are glad you are here. If you are visiting us online this morning, please take a moment to click the link in the chat, fill out the visitor form, and let us know how you'd like to be connected. If you're visiting in person, we invite you to stop by the welcome table and say hello. Welcome.
I offer these words from the Reverend Kimberley Zach Carlson. It is not by chance that you arrived here today. You have been looking for something larger than yourself. Inside of you, there is a calling, a yearning, a hope for more, a desire for a place of belonging and caring. Through your struggles, someone nurtured you into being, instilling a belief in shared purpose, a common yet precious resource that belongs to all of us when we share. And so you began seeking beloved community, a people that does not put fences around love, a community that holds its arms open to possibility, a heart home to nourish your soul and share your gifts. Welcome home. Welcome to worship. I now invite you to rise in body and spirit and join us in singing hymn 1000, Morning Has Come. Morning has come, arise and greet the day. Dance with joy and sing a song, gladness. The light of hope shines upon each day. May it bring faith to guide our journey home. Open the doors, once more the gift is here. Wonder fills this moment shared together. The light of peace is shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home. Open our eyes to see that life abounds. Open hearts to welcome in among us. The light of love shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home. You may be seated.
Good morning. It is wonderful to see everybody here today. This is the 7th year, I think, that I have stood before you for the plate share for the Interfaith Council of New Americans in Westchester. And every year I think I believe in this so much I don't need notes. And then the morning comes and I write them out. It's too important for me not to say it correctly, so I'm going to tell you. Refugee, a person who has been forced to leave their country in order to escape war, persecution, or natural disaster. In its 7 years, ICNA has had tremendous success. 26 individuals whose lives were taken from danger and brought to safety. Those were 13 adults and 13 children. We've had successes like Fardeen becoming a citizen in April. Medina and Haida now have their driver's permits and received a grant of $2,000 so that they can both take driving lessons. Mahnaz is not only catering, but working in a shop doing alterations. Mustafa just told me yesterday he was in honors English this year. This week, our first family from 6 years ago moved into their first home. But the landscape has changed, and there are new statuses for individuals coming to the U.S. So in June, ICNA decided to take a case of an asylum-seeking family. In June, we welcomed our most recent family, Taiba, Aliaka, Amadi, and their son, Sina. We're very lucky to have them with us today, and I asked them if they would stand, and they said they would. They are a bright, eager young family, but because they are asylum seeking, there are significant challenges. Among them, no health insurance for adults, and the inability to work, not to work until 6 months after their asylum application is received. In the meantime, they will both be volunteering to learn more about the American workplace. Rather than use the U.S. governmental designation of refugee, ICNA is moving towards using the humanitarian definition of a refugee. In other words, someone who has had to flee their country because of danger, persecution, war, natural disasters. But this is a very big step because without official designation of refugee status, there are very few benefits for these families, which puts a heavy burden on ICNA. This year, as you think about the plate share for ICNA, please consider that it is our financial health that will allow us to aid more people who have been forced to flee, not just a country, but everyone and everything they hold dear in order to find safety with us. Thank you.
Good morning. It's great to see you all. Our story this morning is a fable about a frog, and I'm going to need your help telling it. So when a question comes up, I want you to shout it out, okay? Ready? Yes. There was a frog who lived in a big hole under a rock next to a pond. What do you think his life was like? Boring, slimy, wet. Yes. He swam in the pond every day. He sat on a log to sun himself and dry off. And he would swim around for food. He loved his life. It was simple. It was his pond. He loved being there. One day, everything changed. A family of otters moved in. What do you suppose the otters did? They did what? They swam, they looked for food, what else? They talked. And they splashed and splashed all the time. And the frog thought, I don't like all that noise in my pond. Then a family of blue jays moved in. What do you suppose they did? They did. They made a lot of noise. They squawked, and the frog thought, I don't like all that noise in my pond. Then one day, lightning struck, and a big branch fell into the pond. And there were leaves and twigs and just a bunch of stuff now in the pond. What do you suppose the frog thought? Oh my God, it's a mess. I don't like that in my pond. Yes. He crawled back under his rock into his big hole and kind of moped. And then there was a voice. Why are you so sad? It was a caterpillar. What do you suppose the frog said? Liked it the way it was. Yeah. Didn't want it to change. And the caterpillar said, I like change. And I hope one day I'll be a butterfly. The leaves change, the trees change, even a mighty river changes course. So they lived together for a while, kind of starting to get used to each other. Then one day, something unexpected happened. The rock above his hole came off, and a jar came down over his hole. And he was scooped into the jar and went on a bike with a little boy on a bouncy, getting tousled around and thrown around until all at once they hit a rock and everybody went flying. The bike went this way, the boy went that way. The frog in the jar landed behind some tall grass. So the frog stayed there for a little bit until it felt like the coast was clear. When he came out, he realized, I am in a strange place. I don't know this place. I'm lost. So he found the hollow of a tree and went to sleep for the night. The next morning, he went out and thought, I am determined to get back to my pond. So he started hopping, and he encountered all sorts of new dangers and adventures and wonders along the way. And this went on for weeks. He still was not finding his home. Then, one day, what do you suppose he heard? He did. He heard blue jays, and he heard splashing, and hop, 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 hop. And he got through a bush, came out the other side. There was his pond. And there were the otters and the blue jays, those noises, even the fallen branch. And he was happy. Why was he happy? He was home. He was home, and he had somewhere to belong. Thank you for helping me with that. As we begin a new year, let's remind ourselves about the ways in which we care for each other and our community well-being. You'll be familiar with some, others will be new to you, and we'd like to remind you that there are 4 ways, 3 teams plus a minister, for us, ways in which we care for each other. And we'd like you to be able to identify the people who are on those teams. So as I mention each team, I'll ask you to please come to the front and Those online, I know we have a couple people on these teams who are watching online. If you would please write your name in the chat and the team that you're on, then Christian will read those out to us in a little bit. So first, we have Caring and Sharing. Would the members of Caring and Sharing who are here this morning please join me up here? You're gonna notice in a minute that you're gonna see people on multiple teams. Julie Gans leads Caring and Sharing. Julie might be with us online this morning. And Caring and Sharing helps meet immediate needs, things like cards, transportation, meals. Would you add anything? Support, yeah. Support. Who are the September contacts? Trish? Okay, good. So your your Caring and Sharing team. Next, we have Pastoral Care Associates. Would any Pastoral Care Associates who are here this morning please join us in the front? Yep. Pastoral Care Associates, that's fine, provide emotional and spiritual care for one person. And Rev Deb Mora is leading our Pastoral Care Associates team this year. I also serve on Pastoral Care Associates, and at the moment you'll notice all of the Pastoral Care Associates are wearing blue name tags. Next. You can stay there, stay there. Next, we have the Reconciliation Support Team. Would members of the Reconciliation Support Team who are here, please join me on this side? This right here. So the Reconciliation Support Team, yes, you are. The Reconciliation Support Team helps support community members when there might be discord between two or more people or groups. That's the Reconciliation Support Team, and they have a wonderful process for holding conversations like that in love and care and community well-being. Al Roki is the chair of the Committee on Ministry, which is where the Reconciliation Support Team sits. It's under Committee on Ministry, and I think Al is probably online. And then, of course, our minister. The minister provides short-term counseling, access to the Ministerial Discretionary Fund, and other types of support like that. And this year, Rev Deb is holding that for us as well. Yay. Christian, except for the ones I mentioned, everyone's in the room? Okay. Julie and Al, all right. Your community cares teams. Thank you.
We invite you now into a time of quiet prayer and meditation. As we hold in our hearts the joys, sorrows, trials, and tribulations of all humanity that we bear witness to in the news each week. Let us not forget the millions of small, random acts of kindness that occur around the world each day, performed every day by unknown people that sustain persons and systems in need and remind us of the inherent goodness of all humanity. As we, in this community of faith, enter a new transitional year, may we be guided by the Spirit of truth so that we might honestly embrace this process in cooperation and good faith. We invoke the Spirit of enlightenment to imbue in us the self-awareness to compassionately overcome our all too human resistance to change. And we ask that the Spirit of wisdom help us in the process of letting go, so that we may remain open to new beginnings and best live out our commitment to foster compassion within and beyond these walls. As we hold all that has been spoken and all that has been unspoken in our hearts, let us observe a moment of silence. Today's reading is by Karen T. Johnston, and it is called In Words. Belonging. Be longing. Being longing. It is said we are creatures that long, that yearn, that aspire. It is said that we are a people of belonging, longing for creation and connection, longing to be equal to this moment, which calls us to the root of welcome, to the wellspring of inclusion, to affirm the delicious diversity of humanity, to honor the many expressions of gender, an unfolding gift of the world. We are a people of belonging, creating refuge and home when it has been blocked or barred, where it is not offered elsewhere. We are a people of belonging, singing hallelujah to the yes degree, to a melody of you are whole and holy, in harmony with you are righteous and beautiful and worthy, to the tune of you are a child of the universe. In all your longings, you belong. You belong here, should you choose to call this home.
This congregation is the community of ourselves. Its energy and resources are our energy and resources. Its wealth is what we share. As we contribute to the life of this community, we affirm our lives within it.
Good morning. If your waters feel troubled, if this time of transition here at CUUC leaves you feeling anxious or afraid, just know that we want to be that bridge over troubled waters for you.
We say thank you for the gifts you have generously given to our community and, of course, our refugee program. It is all of our gifts of treasure, of course, but also of time and of talent that enrich our bodies and our spirits. I am the river, and I am like you. Well, now, there's a metaphor. I could probably take us off in 1,000 different directions, and I'm certain 1,000 homilies have already been written based on this song for services just like this one, each one taking, probably 1,000 different directions. So here's 1,001. The river says yes. Now, the river doesn't know what's next, but it says yes to what's next. The river finds its way around curves, it tumbles over rocks, it pools in deep insets, it runs in narrow tree-lined gullies, occasionally finding itself powering a mill or filling a canal or spreading across wide river beds. And occasionally, the river jumps off the cliff in a cacophony of waterfall. Or perhaps it meets another river, or a lake, or the Sound, or the sea. The river doesn't know what's coming next, but it says yes. And through it all, the river never loses itself, but rather brings its uniqueness. The sediment and pollution that gives each river its particular character changes what happens downriver, because the river or lake or sound or sea that it meets doesn't ask it to change its own character, but rather be exactly as it is and be welcomed. The river says yes. So what does that mean for us? Well, you've said yes once already today. Coming to our service is a yes to this congregation, a yes to your faith, a yes to seeing what comes next. And with that yes is curiosity, of course. What is happening? Why are the chairs different? What's going to change this year? What's going to happen to us? Are we going to be okay? Will I still belong? Will you still belong? I hope so. But it does ask each of us to consider what it means to belong and to belong here. Brené Brown talks about belonging as the opposite of fitting in. She says that fitting in is about assessing a situation and becoming who you need to be in order to be accepted. Belonging, on the other hand, doesn't require us to change who we are. It requires us to be who we are. Belonging requires us to be who we are. Now, I look out from this pulpit, blessed with the advantage of knowing many of you from the sabbatical ministry in 2019, 2020, knowing a bit of who you are and what you're like. I know some of your gifts and some of your quirks, and have seen some of the fullness of who you are. Others here I don't know yet, but I look forward to getting to know you, who you are, what are your gifts, what are you like, your quirks, the fullness of who you are. And it is the fullness of who each one of us is that we must say yes to if we are to belong and if everyone else is to belong as well. And guess what? It isn't just about other people. It's about ourselves too. Saying yes to being human and our whole human experience and knowing that that is whole. Saying yes to our joys and our sorrows and our mistakes and our healing and our experimenting and our failing and repairing and repenting and loving and loving and loving again. And in this moment, saying yes to this congregation, yes to this faith, yes to this journey we are on together. Yes. And. Now the yes, of course, matters. Without the yes, nothing starts. But the and is important. For those of you who know anything about improvisation, the first rule is yes and. In an improv performance, this means one person sets up the scene. I might say something like, looks like you're digging a hole. And the person who is responding accepts the setup, digging a hole, and continues in the affirmative. Well, yes, I am, and I'm gonna fill the hole with Skittles. And the scene continues, even if it's ridiculous and silly. But this yes and approach works outside of performance too. In fact, the perfect example happened right here when one early December day in 2019, I texted Tracy with the words, "I think we need a TARDIS." And Tracy wrote back, "Yes, and I know where to get a big box." 3 weeks later, our pageant featured some time travel a la Doctor Who, complete with a big blue British police box. I did not know I was also saying yes to looking like a Smurf when I painted it, but that's another story. But yes and isn't just about Skittles and time travel. It's about everything. It's certainly about how we start a congregational year, and certainly how we start this interim transitional year, and how we mean to continue. Imagine if we said yes to belonging, yes to experimenting, yes to curiosity, and then said, and we might make mistakes, and we might discover something new, and we might have to let go of some assumptions, and we might have to make amends, and we might find out that we're stronger than we thought. Yes, and frees us. We can say yes and change our minds. We can say yes and realize, ooh, that was a mistake, and repair it. We can say yes to resting and mentoring and drawing better boundaries, and learn that taking care of ourselves is taking care of our community too. We can say yes to curiosity and discover we've been hanging on to things out of nostalgia, or learn what is important to actually hold on to. We can say yes to trying something different and learning we like it or not. And remember, we already know how to say yes and as a community. CUUC knows how to try new things and do some hard things. I know this because we all did it in the first month of the pandemic. And if we can do March of 2020, we can do anything. You might get a text at 11:30 at night telling you to go to bed, for God's sake, but we can do it. Those were some long days. Those of you in leadership remember. But we are, in fact, a people of yes and. Yes and is embedded in our universalist theology. Our universalism reminds us that we are loved and we are whole and we are worthy no matter our successes and failures. Universalism values our uniqueness and our gifts and our quirks and honors our longing with belonging. Universalism tells us to keep coming back because there is always a love holding us. That is sacred. That is yes and. Saying yes and is a sacred act. It is an intimate affirmation of infinite possibility. Yes and. We gather here, an ingathering of beloveds like the river, not sure where we're going, but the river, like the river, saying yes to the twists and the turns and the rocks and the mills and the locks and the dams and the cliffs, and to all the other rivers and lakes and sounds and seas with whom we belong. We say yes, yes to all of it, to the possibilities, to the experiments, to the connections, to this community, to this faith, to the world, to failure and success, to trying and trying again, to longing and welcoming and belonging. We say yes, and we affirm our yes with water on this day, water that sustains us and all of life. Consider the water you will pour into our shared vessels, either water you have brought or water that's on our table, and those online, water you have near you. Consider all that you are ready to say yes to. You don't have to know what's next. You don't have to know what the and will lead you to. Just right now, think about your yes. When you're ready, come to our table and add water to our shared vessel and say, whisper, sing, yes. Will your heart and soul say yes? Will your spirit still say yes? When there's more that is required of me, will your heart and soul say yes? And will your heart and soul say yes? And will your spirit still say yes? There is more that I require of thee. Will your heart and soul say yes? So just say yes, 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 yes. Just sing yes. Our souls say yes. Oh, we belong. Yes, here we are. Just say yes. I made up my mind to say yes. Oh, we have all we need. Oh, yeah. So let us now bless this water, a symbol of our yes, a symbol of our commitment to each other, a symbol of our longing and our belonging, a symbol of our common endeavor. This water is sacred, made sacred by the many hands who have poured with intention and love, the many stories that each drop contains, the many lives surrounding it in this unique moment, connected by yes. And let the people say, this water is sacred. May it continue to nurture this community with sustaining hope that we journey together through ripples of growth and change. May it continue to bless this community with loving reminders of our collective responsibility to one another and the world. May its ripples be a reminder that change and growth within the community bring movement and transformation to the world beyond our doors. May its imperfections offer grace to our community and the willingness to forgive ourselves and one another when we make mistakes. In moments when we are confused or uncertain, may it bring us clarity of purpose and commitment. Yes. 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 And this water is sacred. Amen and blessed be. Let us now join our voices together, singing a reminder that when the yes is hard and the going gets rough, we can turn to the peace of the river to hold us and guide us. Let us rise, embody our spirit, and sing peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. Peace like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. Got love like an ocean. I've got love in my soul. I've got joy. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow. Pain like an arrow in my soul. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow. Pain like an arrow in my soul. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops. Tears like the raindrops in my soul. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops. Like the raindrops in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like the mountain. Strength like the mountain in my soul. I've got strength like the mountain. I've got strength like the mountain. Strength like the mountain in my soul. We extinguish our chalice in anticipation of what is to become. May we be audacious and willing to take risks. May we be humble and learn to fail and learn from failure. May we be together welcoming each other and ourselves into community. May we say yes and be open to possibility. May we belong. May we say yes. Now let us bless each other in song, singing to each other, "From you I receive." From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and by this we live. From you I receive, to you share, and by this we live. You may be seated.
We share our gratitude for this morning's worship team, musicians, tech team, ushers, greeters, and coffee hour hosts. Today, we ask religious exploration parents and caregivers to join us in Fellowship Hall after worship to hear about some changes in RE this year and new safety protocols. Coming up, we have the RE pool party next Saturday at the Cortlands and a Saturday meet and greet with Reverend Paul. Next Sunday, RE begins. Then after worship next Sunday, we have a brunch and community forum. Our community and connections thrive when we all do our part and care for them and find the sacredness in being part of something. Currently, acts of service needed to sustain our community include signing up to be a greeter, support the coffee hour, and to help with the community brunch next Sunday. Sign-up sheets are available in the fireside area, where Terry's waving her hand. Our weekly e-communitarian and RE newsletters offer details for these and more opportunities to connect and nurture this community that is dear to us all. Adam's closing music invites us to journey to a time of fellowship to the gently rippling waters of Wallenstadt Lake in Switzerland, as evoked by the 19th century composer Franz Liszt.